The one-to-one function g is defined below. G of x is equal to x minus 9 over 7x plus 5. Find the inverse of g of x, where g superscript opposite symbol 1 is the inverse of g. Also, state the domain and range of the inverse of g in interval notation. First thing you want to remember is that this symbol here is not an exponent. It really is just a symbol standing for inverse of g. So make sure you read this as the inverse of g. It's really just more of a descriptor. It's like saying you have blue eyes or something. Alright, why don't we get started? Why don't we try to find the inverse of g of x? First thing you want to know is for g of x, x cannot be what? X cannot be negative 5/7. So if you look at the denominator of g of x, you are checking its domain. Right away you realize g of x is not equal to negative 5/7. In fact, you know the domain of g. You know the domain of g is equal to negative infinity negative infinity up to negative 5/7 union negative 5/7 up to infinity. So that is the domain of g. To find the inverse of g of x, what we're going to first do is take your g of x and call it y. And it's going to equal to x minus 9 over 7x plus 5. Now we're going to change this problem. We're going to interchange our x's and y's, because we know that the domain of g is equal to the range of the inverse of g. And the range of g is equal to the domain of the inverse of g. So in short, ideally, it makes sense to switch the x's and y's. Now, solve for y. This y is not the same as the y above. This is a new y. Now we're going to go ahead and solve for y. Multiply both sides by 7y plus 5. So we get 7y plus 5 times x is now equal to y minus 9. We're trying to get all our y's together. 7xy plus 5x is equal to y minus 9. Why do we have 7xy minus y is now equal to negative 5x minus 9. Factor out a y on the left-hand side of the equation. We get 7x minus 1 is equal to negative 5x minus 9. Right here is a crucial step. We're going to mention that x here cannot equal what? Cannot equal 1/7. As soon as we say that, now we could actually divide the entire sides by 7x minus 1. But you first have to say x cannot equal 1/7. What does this mean? This means our new y is equal to negative 5x minus 9 over 7x minus 1. We're going to rename this new y. The name for this new y is in fact going to be the inverse of g of x. let's go ahead and find a domain. Well, if you check the denominator, it says x cannot be what? X cannot be 1/7. So let's write the domain of the inverse of g. That's got to equal negative infinity up to 1/7 union 1/7 up to the concept of infinity. We got to find the range as well. For the range, notice there is a horizontal asymptote. The horizontal asymptote is simply the coefficients in front of the x over the coefficient in front of this x. And that is because the degree of the numerator is 1 and the degree of the denominator is 1. So to get the horizontal asymptote, we simply look at the coefficients and we're going to write y equals. The horizontal line or the horizontal asymptote is y equals negative 5/7. For this particular rational function, it doesn't cross this horizontal asymptote. So what does that mean? That means we can find the range now. The range of G inverse, I usually abbreviate it. RNG and then parenthesis. The range of the inverse of G is equal to negative infinity up to negative 5/7 union negative 5/7 up to infinity. And notice these actually match. Let's circle the answers. The answers that we should circle is this. It asks for the domain of the inverse of G. It asks for the range of the inverse of a G. It also wanted you to make sure you could find the inverse of G, which is another function. More importantly, you should circle what? You should circle all your work as well. So in this case, why don't we just circle the entire page? After all, math is about showing your work, showing the communication of procedures.